Hey, what's up, guys? Just want to do a quick video about another one of my firearms. It's a German Mauser K98, and I saw something on Gunbroker today that kind of shocked me. Basically, the money somebody was asking for one of these rifles, and so I figured I'd do a quick video about particular type of captured weapon, not necessarily a Russian capture, but there are many countries that captured K98s after the war, and I wanted to kind of point out one of my favorite ones to get, if you can get your hands on one, is a Romanian capture, and I'd like to point out some of the features on those rifles. Alright, so here she is. She is a 1943 dot. It means it was made in Czechoslovakia at the Brno Mauser plant, I believe. It's either the Brno or the other one. There's only two in Czechoslovakia, but it was made in Czechoslovakia in 1943. Just give you a little brief overview. Yes, the sling is a reproduction, and so is the sight hood, but it has been washed with ammonia and, vinegar, ammonia and steel wool to dull the finish to make it match the rest of the rifle. It is import marked, CAI. Thanks, guys, for the awesome import mark that you guys are always known for. As you can see, the rifle has a pretty worn finish to it. The metal's probably been cleaned, not by me. I'm sure it was kind of rusty whoever got it. The barrel's decent. It's got some excessive muzzle wear, but it still groups fine at 100 yards. The rifle is actually about 90% matching. Not that it matters. I mean, it's import marked and defaced. But here's the thing I wanted to talk to you about. Is Romanian captures are great guns to get your hands on. This isn't really going to be a review of Mauser series rifles. I think there's enough of those on YouTube, and I'm not going to bore you with the same information like how to take apart the bolt and such. But I would like to point out some informative things for the prospective K98 buyer. Right there, as you can see, there's a serial number, 9210 F block. So this is kind of a earlier 1943. As you can see, the transition from milled to stamped welded bands. This has the, get around the other side, this has the welded rear band, a stamped spring, and the later type band that's not welded. It's just an unmachined H-band, basically. So you see the change over there late in the war. Try to simplify the production of the rifle. But I wanted to point out the two firing proof marks are not there. They've been defaced by a punch of some sorts. Whenever you see that, that is not a Russian capture. That is indicative of a Romanian captured rifle. So this rifle was captured by the Romanians at some point during the war or after the war. The swastikas were defaced, and it was put into service with them. Hence the unrefinished appearance of the stock and the metal. It has not been shellacked. It is still a very nice, I mean, it's kind of beat up, but it's a pretty nice example of a red glue laminate stock. The bolt is a mismatch to the rifle, but matches itself minus the safety catch. The safety catch is serialed 8818. The rest of the bolt is 296S, including firing pin and extractor. As the appropriate WA stamp of 6.3, though, and also has the 263s right there on the bolt shroud. So even though this bolt is a mismatch to the rifle, it more than likely was made at Brno, or could have been in a dot or Dow rifle, I believe. I know from my research. Anyway, so Romanian captures. More than likely it'll have matching wood. This wood does match this rifle. More than likely small parts will match. Barrel bands match the stock in the rifle. Bayonet lugs unnumbered. The rear sight matches the rifle. You got a, let's see if you can see it there. You got a 1-0 stamped, full serial number stamped there. The base stamped. You can see some heavy pitting there. I mean, this rifle was probably a battlefield pickup or left in a warehouse somewhere. This is also has a .11 shield barrel with a lot number of AF. There are 2 WA63 stamps underneath the barrel. The only downside to this rifle is it does have pretty substantial pitting under the stock line. It's not anything to make it dangerous to fire, but it definitely got wet or was left out in the cold in the eastern front. So this, it's got a pretty standard stock disc. Let's see if I can get it to show up. It has a DOT stamped in the rear spine of the rifle. I have found no other acceptance stamps on it which are correct for this rifle. You can see the little bit of damage to the stock there. It's actually the worst on the stock. It does have a lamination separation right there, but I've deemed it not to be anything big. I don't know if the screws match or anything like that, because they stopped numbering small parts like that. I'm going to say they're probably not a match. As you can see, the floor plate is not the correct one. The floor plate and the trigger guard are a complete mismatch. This would be more of like a Borgeswald WA77 right there. More of an earlier type. This should have a stamped floor plate and stamped trigger guard. So those are the parts of the gun that do not match other than the bolts. So maybe it's more like let's say a 68% matching rifle, I guess. But you can see how the Mod 98 is on a DOT rifle, right? And you can also see DOT rifles have a single Waffen-Amp with a 63 under it. And there is no caliber designation. Excuse me. There is no caliber designation on the barrel, as you see on other K98s. But anyway, let's open up the action real quick. The magazine follower might be a mismatch. I'm not sure. It only has a 1 marked on it. I'm not really sure about that. So, yeah. But anyway, back to what I was saying. I saw one of these on Gunbroker for a substantial amount of money because it was just a floor plate mismatch. So if you're out there looking to buy a K98 and you got $200 to $300, if you can find one of these Romanian captures, they will all look pretty much just like this. Very worn finish. They'll probably be 43 or 44 dated rifles, more than likely from a DOT or a DOU manufacturer code, and they'll have almost no finish left. More than likely there'll be a bolt mismatch or another small parts mismatch. The barrels, they're going to have some pitting in them, not going to lie. But, you'd be surprised. Pitted barrel isn't like the worst possible thing that could happen. There's worse things to have in a rifle barrel or rifle parts. This barrel did clean up pretty well, so it does shoot pretty accurate for, what it is. But I enjoy it. The only thing that was really wrong with this rifle when I got it was this, the rear sight elevator button was kind of rusted in the closed position, but I got it freed up with the original parts, so very happy about that. But anyway, if you're in the market for looking for a remaining, if you're just looking for a K98 to shoot or own, get into collecting them, a DOT, a Romanian captured rifle would be a good starting point. Just watch out on Gunbroker, because there's guys selling these for $750, and they are not worth that. They are worth $200 to $300 tops, in my opinion. I paid $250 for mine in this condition. Another interesting thing about this rifle that I wanted to point out about German manufacturing, and that's why it's kind of great to get these Romanian captures, because they're not like Russian captured rifles. They're pretty much as the Germans made them, except they were used by another country for a number of years, hence the excessive wear on this rifle. finished wear, that is. The other thing I wanted to point out was this handguard is a match to the rifle, and it's walnut. It's a hardwood handguard, but it's DOT marked. Okay, and it's serial numbered on the inside. I'm not going to take it off, and you'll just have to take my word for it. But the serial number's on the stock match, so that's kind of weird. It has a hardwood handguard and a red glue laminated stock. Kind of strange. But anyway, the serial numbers do match, and the suffixes match too. So they're all numbered 9210F. But just beware. There's a lot of people, especially with K98s, they're looking to take your money. You know, they're just looking to dupe you. You know, if I put this, 2 years ago, if I was looking at this rifle, I'd be like, man, this thing's the real McCoy. You know what I'm saying? I probably would have paid more for it. But I've done my homework. I suggest you do the same. I'm by no means a Mauser expert, but I've definitely become pretty well sourced. This is my shooter. This is the one I just take out and shoot. But it's a cool subject piece because it really displays a lot of the mid to late war changes that were going on in K98 manufacture. And a Romanian capture is a good way to get a little picture, a little window into the K98 world so you can start collecting them. I mean, you got to start somewhere, so what a better way than $200-300 guns, you know? Still take it to the range and shoot it, so. But I think that'll pretty much do it. There is one other thing I wanted to show you about Romanian captures. If you give me a minute, I'll just pause the video. Alright. Now, if you look right there, that's the butt plate removed. Another cool thing is, this butt plate has the anti-corrosive paint on the inside. It's never been refurbished. It's also unmarked. There's no BRG marking or anything like that, or maker mark. But there's some writing on the buttstock. And this is indicative also of a Romanian capture. Through my research online, there isn't a lot of information out there, but through talking to other people, basically what that reads is the person's name in the Romanian army, the date at which he took custody of the rifle and cleaned it. Yeah, when I found it, I thought it was something really cool, but that's really all it says. Anyway, that's another reason that you are definitely holding a Romanian captured rifle. So, yet again, it'll more than likely be a DOT laminate stock red glue, unfinished, no shellac. It'll have writing under the butt plate, so if they allow you to remove the butt plate, go ahead. It'll probably have very worn finish, and it'll have the swastikas beamed out. All indicative of a Romanian capture. I think they're better than Russian captures because they're not mismatched parts, even though most of them will have mismatched bolts, but it's a bolt mismatch. It's not just parts in a bin thrown together. This bolt does match itself, except for the only piece that really doesn't matter, the safety catch. Who cares if that matches or not? All the internal parts match. The extractor matches. Extractor color is the right one. Basically, it's a bolt mismatched rifle with the wrong foreplate and trigger guard. But anyway, I think they're a lot cooler than a Russian capture. So let me know what you guys think. You can leave your comments below. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to message me or any video responses if you guys have information. If I was wrong on something, you can go ahead and correct me, I guess. I mean, I'm a novice. I'm not a professional at this. But, yeah, so there it is. So, also stay tuned. We're going to have some cool shooting videos coming up this Tuesday. I know I don't have any subscribers yet, but going to be blowing up some TVs with some, what's that? 50 caliber AE. Yeah, that's right. We're going to have a good time. So we're busting out that. The old Hakeem right there. So I was just cleaning them up a little bit. Figured I'd do a video on this guy. So, if you guys have any requests on videos pertaining to Mausers, in general, Hakeems, British Lee Enfields, I own those. M1 Grands, 30 carbines, also own some of those. Feel free to message me, and we'll see what I can come up with. Alright, later.